We have details of these and more stories coming your way if you stay with us for the next 20 minutes. The bulletin is live on DSTV, channel 279, also on Facebook at TV3 Ghana, where you can join us with your thoughts and comments. So it starts on the anti-corruption front. Audit firm KPMG says the Ghana Revenue Authority's contract with SML was signed contrary to Ghana's public procurement law. This is contained in a full report released by the presidency. As you may be aware, civil society organizations have in the last few weeks demanded a release of the report. The presidency turned down the right to information request, but has now opted to release the report. A statement signed by Director of Communication, Eugene Ahin, explains the reason for the release. This is what the statement says. The president, in the interest of full transparency and governance, openness and honesty with the public, has decided to waive the privilege under Section 5 of the RTI Act and has directed the publication of the KPMG report in full. So that's it, you see it right there, and we will definitely be keeping an eye on this report and bring you the details subsequently. Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Martin Pegu says the whole contract with SML should be abrogated since it did not have preliminary approval.
Quickly, because from what I see, you can't benefit from your wrongdoing like this. No. When an agreement is void, it's void. There's a Supreme Court decision that tells you that anything that needs parliamentary approval, if you don't grant it, it is void. We also remember the Martin Amidu string of cases. Martin Amidu's cases, yes, against Waterville, etc. So they tell you that no, if you don't have parliamentary approval, your thing is void. And so that is it. Any claim of judgment debt, no. If the finance ministry has issues, look, they should invite us in. We'll come and help pro bono to analyze the contract and show how the consequences.
You're still watching the morning news here on TV3 with me, Godwin Asidiwa. We take more stories here. Anti-corruption campaigners have identified a litany of recent events which they say point to state capture, corruption, nepotism and abuse of power. They are demanding answers from government.
The civil society groups include the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Center for Democratic Development, and the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition. They argue the current state of affairs in the country necessitates immediate action from citizens and stakeholders.
The Constitution gives us the power as citizens to determine our destiny and heritage as a people. When we see that things are not going well, it is our duty to speak out, to reject, and to denounce all forms of wrongdoing. When we sit and look or watch aloof, then we are making a mistake. Posterity will judge us.
The coalition is requesting government accountability for national interest issues, including halting the sale of significant stakes in Senate-owned hotels.
We believe that there should be a stakeholder engagement in the preparation and development of accountability and anti-corruption coordination legislation. We believe that all these turf wars and disputes and sometimes publicly between our agencies are not going to help us to fight corruption. But if we are going to overcome that and to streamline that action, we need legislation to cover their coordination. Even an MOU is not enough because we cannot be guaranteed that everybody will comply if it's not a legislation.
They requested the president to submit all petitions on issues similar to the petition for the removal of the special prosecutor.
It is also important to note that the president fulfilled his mandatory obligation under the Constitution and the OSP Act by forwarding the petition to the Chief Justice. Moving forward, we expect the president to remain consistent and forward all petitions before him to the Chief Justice without delay.
The coalition is determined to take further actions if government response to its demands is delayed.
For the 18th time, we are talking about flooding again. Several areas in the capital, Accra, were gravely inundated with the rains. But guess what? The Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Project, which was launched in 2020, was to have tackled these issues leading to the flooding situation in the capital. My colleague Job Laboja visited some of these areas to scoop the level of completion or otherwise of this project.
This is Adabraka, close to the Sahara Park, and this particular drain you see right here is one of the major drains that links to the Odo River. And the Garrett project was targeted at some of these drains to expand them and allow for easy flow of water into the Odo River. Indeed, the rain didn't take it easy on the people living around this particular stretch.
Anytime the rain will fall, if I'm at some place, I have to make sure I'll come down and save my properties. If you go far to the Konkoma, that's where the problem is. They have to dig the Koli at Konkoma to the sea. So if the water flow from this place to the Koli, then it can flow into the sea, then we won't have any flood here.
So what you see right in your shots is exactly what residents along the Odo River Basin go through each time it rains.
So when I came, you can see you cannot enter the room inside. You can find out from where the gutter is coming from to join the graphic road. They can say that water does not go at all. So normally from there that's enter people's houses. I don't know what is happening on paperwork, but the ground, what I'm saying, paperwork, but the ground, nothing is working.
By first I go sleep, so I come now, we enter, I go come out time, plus the bucket, I go with the bucket. Come out inside, small.
Another component of the Garrett project is solid waste management capacity improvement, and this particular component is being led by the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, and it's aimed at reducing the amount of solid waste flowing into the primary Odo channel. But our checks revealed heaps of rubbish along the river, and as you can clearly see in your shot, we understand and per our checks, these are dotted around the river all the way to the Koli Lagoon itself.
June, July is coming, and the rains definitely will come with no mercy, so do stay safe out there. We do more stories. The minority in Parliament is daring the Interior Minister to put out names of persons they claim were forwarded by the NDC MPs for the secret recruitments. This comes after the majority in Parliament dismissed claims by NDC MPs that they have been giving slots to recruit people into the security agencies. A report by Komla Kloche.
This issue is serious and deserves a substantive response, not a deflection. We therefore challenge the Minister for the Interior to publish the names of persons that he claims were forwarded by the NDC MPs for the secret recruitment. If the Minister fails to provide these names, then his statement must be seen for what they are: baseless, ridiculous, frivolous, provocative, and indeed false. The Minister's announcement that there is going to be a recruitment this year without public advertisement and the sale of forms because the government wants to clear the backlog of previous recruitment is untenable, outrageous, and very disturbing. Since when did the government of Ghana block recruitment into the security services by restricting access for only a selected group in the name of backlog? This is because there is no such backlog, and I repeat, there is no such backlog. Indeed, on the 7th of July 2023, the Public Affairs Directorate of the Police Headquarters issued a press release signed by Assistant Commissioner of Police, Grace Ansa Akrofi, under the heading Police Conclude its 2021-2022 Recruitment Exercise. And this is a copy of the letter from the Ghana Police Service, copy of the letter. And the letter is only 2 paragraphs, and I read: the Ghana Police Service bring to an end its 2021-2022 recruitment process with an invitation to the last batch of successful candidates to report for medical screening and training. Consistent with our parliamentary oversight, we can assure the Minister for the Interior that the minority will bring a motion to demand full-scale inquiry into the recruitment into the security services since 2017. In fact, if this fails, we can equally resort to charge.
You're so watching the morning news here on TV3 with me, Godwin Asedeba. Traditional leaders of the 5 regions in northern Ghana are advocating for Electoral Commission's extension of the limited voter registration to accommodate more people, particularly students, women and persons with disability. They argue that the 3-week period is insufficient due to the numerous challenges and political interference during the initial stages of the exercise. That's more.
Addressing a press conference in Accra on Tuesday, May 21, Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations at the Electoral Commission, Samuel Tete, said the decision for an extension is not on the table for consideration.
It is for 21 days, and if you go to most of the centers, you can actually see that the situation used not be in the first week. So they don't actually think that at this time it's even feasible for anyone to confirm this.
According to him, despite the technical challenges encountered in the first 2 days of the exercise, the process has since been smooth across the country without any hindrance.
Briefing stated that with the first week, we actually had a lot of people in the queue to register. And we stated that if you go to some of the registration centers, you find out that it's something like the work day. We are not actually recording very high gaps in some of the registration works.
But reacting to the stance taken by the EC, traditional rulers in the 5 regions of the north have urged the EC to reconsider its decision.
This decision created challenges for eligible citizens who were required to fund their transportation to cover long distances to access the voter registration centers. Among the most affected were the youth, the target of the voter registration exercise, as most of them, either students or unemployed, were without any assured means of income. In most cases, a registrant who does not possess a Ghana card was required to transport 2 additional guarantors to the registration center. This beside the fact that there was no certainty of getting registered the same day due to the turnout of the various registration centers.
According to them, though the Electoral Commission has registered more than half of its target, most people will not be able to register if the exercise ends on May 27.
We therefore use this opportunity to urge the Electoral Commission to thoroughly assess the ongoing registration exercise for improvement and possibly extend the current date for the end of the exercise to enable more eligible Ghanaians to register.
The Electoral Commission commenced the registration of new voters on May 7, 2024, and the exercise is scheduled to close on May 27, 2024. More than 500,000 new voters have been registered so far.
The National Identification Authority has refuted claims by former Minister of Communications, Dr. Omane Boamah, accusing the authority of issuing cards to minors and misrepresenting their ages, and also to non-Ghanaians living in Pusiga and Burkina Faso to register in the voter registration exercise being conducted by the Electoral Commission. The authority has described the allegations as most unfortunate and public deceit. It argues that there is no evidentiary basis to any of the wild claims and conjectures made by Dr. Omane Boamah, and the public should not be dissuaded. The Commission has assured the public of their commitment to continue to pursue its statutory mandate of registering all Ghanaians at home and abroad and issuing them with the Ghana card in order to advance the economic, social and political development of our country. We do more stories from here. A board member of the National Peace Council, Maulvi Mohammed bin Silla, is urging the Electoral Commission to be mindful of its actions before, during and after the December 7 elections, warning against exploiting its independence to undermine peace and stability in the country. He spoke to TV3 on the sidelines of the launch of the National Election Response Group in Accra.
The political parties and Electoral Commission are crucial in promoting peace and tranquility ahead of the upcoming general elections. But recent conflicts arising from limited voter registration have raised concerns among stakeholders. The board member of the National Peace Council, Maulvi Mohammed bin Silla, urged the Electoral Commission to be diligent in fulfilling its duties and urged political parties to be mindful of their statements when addressing grievances.
Independent they are, yes, but that doesn't stop them from listening to the Ghanaians, listen to the wisdom from our elders and so on and so forth. They should not, under any circumstances, hide behind the independence to refuse to consult and listen. If they put their act together and do it well, they can put Ghana together and they can place Ghana on a pedestal of peace and progress. But if they do not put their act together well, they can also break Ghana, and posterity will not forgive them if it so happens.
The Deputy Minister for the Interior and MP for Gumwa Central, Nana Eyia, expressed government's commitment to maintaining peace and working closely with the security agencies.
The ministry is doing its best because the police are our backbone. They are going to work very, very well that there will be a peaceful election. I know they know what to do, but we are so asking that they should do more because it's like there are some statements that people are doing that is bringing Ghanaians to a panic.
The National Election Response Group, NEG, was established to discuss, develop and recommend strategies for handling violent threats during the upcoming general elections.
Our hope is that in the various decentralized structures of the various political entities, some of these messages of peace and some of the options or possibilities of engaging foot soldiers and so on are activated. Indeed, the broader Imam project that we are implementing in partnership with the National Peace Council offers some opportunities also to engage beyond the leadership of political parties.
As the December 7 general elections approach, Ghanaians are urged to cherish the peace and security currently enjoyed in the country.
We head to the Ashanti Regional Capital now. The Ghana National Petroleum Tanker Drivers Union strike for improved service conditions could cause a potential petroleum product shortage at some fuel stations in the coming weeks. Ibrahim Abubakar has been engaging some union members and industry players to determine the best course of action.
For 35 years, Nana Entry has been in the business of transporting petroleum products to the fuel stations. The 73-year-old tanker driver says he would have wished to be on retirement by now, but he is left with no choice than to continue with the job since there is no retirement benefit for his services.
School fees in area.
This, among many other reasons, according to leadership of the tanker drivers, is why they are demanding for a proper pay structure that comes with pension benefits. An agreed policy framework proposed since November 2023 as a measure to enhance salaries and overall working conditions of the drivers and their mates is yet to be approved and implemented by the National Petroleum Authority Board.
You can imagine somebody sitting on this timing bomb running all over the place, helter-skelter. At the end of the day, you come, you don't have money to even give to your children to go to school. You cannot meet your social obligations. I mean, meanwhile, they see you working all the time. It's not the best. There's nothing like a pension. There's nothing like need to help you, nothing. You just go home and that's just that. So you can imagine. And everyday cost of living is going high.
As a means of pressing for their demands, the drivers have grounded all their vehicles at the Akasi Yard in Kumasi and other parking yards across the country.
With the increasing cost of living in the country, the tanker drivers feel it is high time their conditions of services are improved so they will be able to live a decent life together with their families. For now, they have resolved not to reverse their decision until their demands are met.
The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, is already warning of a looming fuel shortage if the concerns of the striking tanker drivers are not urgently resolved. Duncan Amwa is the Executive Secretary of COPEC.
Within 72 hours, if the sit-down strike is not suspended, what it would mean for you and I is that we would need to park our vehicles because the fuel stations will simply have nothing to sell. The few points that you may also have fuel, you would have queues forming and the chaos that comes with these queues. I do not think we want to get there.
Should the strike continue in the next coming days, consumers may have to face the consequence. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
And that's how we end the news this morning. With me, Godwin Asilva. There's more news if you log on to www.3news.com. Well, the show continues shortly with Na Cookie and Roland Walker. See you soon.